Hello, everyone. It's Mike from Downtown Comics, and I'm here with James Rossman. James, how are we doing?
Pretty good, Mike. How about you?
Good. It's been a long couple weeks.
It has.
Yes.
Yep.
You've got a new job. I've been traveling. I've got a show to get ready for. But we're going to take time out from our busy schedule, and we're going to talk about this week's comics. It's Wednesday, March 12th, and let's get going. Oh, before we start, downtowncomics.com is the place to go to check out all the new comics and covers, especially the ones that we don't talk about or missed from last week. And then liking, sharing, and subscribing is always appreciated. Also, we appreciate the fact that if we're gone for a week or two, that you come back and watch our stuff. So that's always good. We're still here. We're just very busy men. All right, so let's get started. Go ahead.
So
hit us.
First up for me is Absolute Superman number 5.
All right.
It's still chugging along. It's still just as good as all the other issues. This one was a little bit more focused on Krypton's final days, including the obviously the explosion of Krypton, but kind of what led up to that.
Okay. Have they told us or shown us how he got off Krypton? Yeah.
This issue you do see.
Oh, you do see that. Okay.
This issue they I don't want to give away too much, but they the Science Guild was. They knew this was going to happen, and they were silencing everybody that was talking about hey, something's going wrong with Krypton. We need to basically leave the planet. And they were hushing pretty much everybody, including Jor-El, because he was the biggest spokesperson for it.
Sure.
So that's what this issue mainly deals with. There's also a little part of present day Superman when he's looking for the Peacemaker that we know of, in the original DC universe.
Okay.
And basically, Peacemaker killed, I can't remember how many it was. I think it was 20-some people, innocent people. So he was after him, and the sentient being or whatever you want to call it. I think its name is Soul, S-O-L. Basically, talks to Superman and kind of, basically just helps him out, really.
Sure. And
so Soul was trying to figure out where Peacemaker was, and then at one point Superman's maybe not, because he's if I find him, I might not be able to stop what I'm what I want to do to him. So
okay.
It kind of flip flop in between the last days of Krypton. But it was interesting to see kind of the difference in obviously Kal-El's older. He's between 10 to 12 years old, kind of. I think it was, and just to see kind of what his parents actually went through, because they did get off planet, but
right.
How many people they were able to get off planet and what happened to them and the process of that.
So did they confirm that there's other Kryptonians then that escaped Krypton?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a couple panels in there that shows different things that happen.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And is this the end of the first arc technically, or is there still one more issue?
I believe, this is the end of the first arc.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But just as good.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Awesome. All right. I'm going to start with, I'm going to hit the, what do they call it? The Ghost Machine universe, or the unnamed, I guess, universe. So I'm going to start with Geiger. Geiger number 12 came out this week. Geiger is, to me, I describe it as the Fallout universe, but with the Hulk, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it's got lots of radiation, but it's got that kind of weird satire, Mad Max Fallout, where they've got different gangs with weird names, and they're all kind of kooky and crazy. And then it's, they're cannibals on one end, and just bad guys on the other. And he's across the wasteland looking for answers and stuff like that. So this particular issue, we didn't know up until now that we thought Geiger was unique, right? Mm-hmm. He got irradiated, but he didn't die. He's now able to expend that radiation as a weapon, right? Mm-hmm. We find that there's another Geiger. So it's a female. So we find out her origin of the female Geiger. She's got her own name, of course. And so they team up because she has control of her powers. Like he can't.
Oh, right.
Like that. Like there is a way for him to control this stuff with these rods, and she's got the same rods. But kind of like the Hulk has been through different phases where the Hulk couldn't control his transformation, but then sometimes Bruce Banner can.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing. It's like Geiger, he can't. When he gets mad and angry, it just expels from him, and so he can't stop it. So he's very nervous being around like innocent people, because if he goes off, they'll just all get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas she has somehow learned to control it. She can turn it on and off whenever she wants.
Okay.
So she wants to train him to do that, and so it's her origin this issue, and them teaming up, and of course, twists and turns abound. So yeah, really great issue. I highly recommend this whole universe that's going on. It's a lot of good stuff. But so that is the issue.
Yeah, I know. I have all the issues, but I think I'm a little bit far behind in reading them. So
right.
I'm really gonna have to catch up because that's interesting.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
So yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun and it's cool. So and the art's great as always.
Sweet. All right. Well, up next for me is Aquaman number 3. In this issue, we still don't know everything. Like we're still kind of presented with more questions than there are like answers. There's two from the there's two travelers that Aquaman is with, and basically they're climbing this. What was it? I think it. Yeah, there's two travelers that he's traveling with, and they're like, hey, if you just help us up this mountain, we'll give you the answers that you're looking for, basically. So they scaled this mountain, and this was in issue 2, and in this issue they get to the top, and he's like, okay, I want answers immediately. So they're basically, let's see, there's a character named Vivian, and she is the one. She's the character we're introduced to from the last issue, and she's essentially like the Lady of the Lake, is like what they. I think what her name translates to.
Okay, so she's not Atlantean, or is she?
Right. No, I don't think so.
She's her own thing.
Yeah,
she's not human either.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, they think that Aquaman. These two characters think that Aquaman is like this, this embodiment of this prophecy. So they're like, and there's this villain named Dagon, I think is how you say it, and basically, she's. Aquaman's without his trident, so they're like, okay, well, you fought this character in issue 1 and 2. Well, you were able to defeat them with just your bare hands, but Dagon's, much more of a threat, and so they go to forge a new weapon for him.
Okay.
And all to find out that once it's once they get done forging it, he gets kidnapped by some of Dagon's henchmen, basically.
Okay.
So that's kind of like where the issue ends, and I don't think and on cover A, I'm sure you saw it, but on cover A we see the Omega symbol in Aquaman's eyes.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so that there's not really much. He's wondering himself. He's like, am I the embodiment of something larger? So obviously he's still trying to basically, find his family, and he wasn't going to help these two characters fight Dagon, and they were like, well, if you don't, then
okay. I am not up on what Aquaman's been going through. Did he die or something? Or where was the character before this series started? Was there some status quo that changed from just normal Aquaman?
If I remember right, the first issue, it was basically he was off somewhere else, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And then when he came back, obviously his family disappears, and Atlantis basically disappears and stuff like that.
Okay, so, but that happened. It didn't happen at the end of another story before this book started. It happened. We find out about it in issue 1.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he on the Justice League right now?
Well, so not really.
Okay.
Just because I know, I think it was issue 1 or 2 that he was traveling with Wonder Woman and Batman because they were trying to help him, and then when they found the portal, he basically walked through, and they were like, well. obviously they didn't go.
Okay.
So yeah, not really. I think he's
Okay.
just basically.
So it seems like they've got him out there on his own, kind
Yeah.
of doing this thing. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, because he does play a big part in the Justice League. So I mean, obviously any of the other books he's not
Right.
not around. So
Okay.
yeah, I can't wait till we figure out like what the heck is going on, so that way maybe he can be put back into the the Justice League.
Yeah. Well, I'm intrigued by this tie-in to maybe the dark side stuff. It seems like an interesting character of all of them to be tied into that. So that's an interesting hook that I think is, well, it's good for a book like Aquaman.
I think so
to keep
too.
People reading and stuff like that. So
yeah, especially because on the cover we see the symbol, the Omega symbol in his eyes. It's like, is he going to be playing a bigger part than what we think he is?
Right.
So, which would be pretty cool, because I feel like Aquaman, I feel like not a lot of people read Aquaman, so maybe this will be a kind of a push to,
Well, it's also curious, whether by design or coincidence, that there has been no absolute Aquaman title either solicited or... Right. So that's intriguing.
Yeah, because I mean, this whole time, Darkseid's like, supposedly dead, and so it's like, well, okay, but it sounds like he might, I don't know, by this issue, we'll see.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, I'm going to stick in the same Geiger universe, and I'm going to do Redcoat. They both came out this week, so Redcoat number 10. Now, Redcoat, if you haven't read it, the easy pitch is it's basically a Highlander type story. So our main character is immortal. He was killed, and what this story does is weaves American history, basically from the Revolutionary War going forward, into this kind of quasi-immortal magic thing. So the basics, the founding fathers were very much involved with dark magic and Illuminati type stuff.
Okay.
Kind of taking their whole, they were all part of the Freemasons and stuff. And if you read into that, there's all these conspiracies about, the Freemasons and stuff. So, the writer has taken that one step further and made them actual, like, yes, they were practicing dark magics and trying to do stuff. Well, this character got involved unintentionally and he became immortal.
Okay.
And the kicker is that he is not at all a good guy. He's not evil, but he's completely selfish. He just doesn't really want to help anyone or do it. He's immortal now, and basically he just wanders around being kind of a sleazeball. Like not in an obtuse way, but
so not an anti-hero.
No, he's not an anti-hero. No, not at all. He literally just walks around. He wants to drink. Part of his immortality is he's always hungry.
Okay.
So he's always hungry. So but he never has any real money. And he wears, the reason they call it Redcoat is he was a British soldier.
Okay.
So he's got a British Redcoat uniform is basically his thing. And he just wanders around. And so throughout his books, he's met various people that you would know from history or folklore. But then, of course, there's twists to what they are in this universe. So in this issue... Like last issue, or the last couple issues, we met Johnny Appleseed.
Oh, I do Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah. This issue, we meet Annie Oakley. Okay. Now, she appeared briefly as a flashback, I think, when the character was introduced as part of the Geiger Universe earlier. But this is her first, full appearance. So again, from the historical perspective, she's an incredible, shot. She's a marksman. She tours around the country doing shows. That's exactly what happened. That's who she was. And of course they meet, and really the story is about him meeting these people, and then somehow slowly you can see, because now he became immortal in 1780, approximately 1776, right around the Revolutionary War. It's now 18, because it's going in some sort of linear timeline. It's about 1890, I want to say. So it's been about 100 years he's been alive and traveling and seeing things. So he's slowly gotten less of a kind of a scumball as he's gone, nice. Right? So every time he meets someone who has a positive effect on him, he gets a little better. But basically it's just a fun adventure story with a historical thing in. So if you're into especially American history, if you just kind of dig that, it's really fun to see how they weave these real life historical figures into the narrative, and how he's just he's kind of fun in a way that, we're not expecting him to do anything really good. It's out of self-preservation or, happenstance that something good happens when he's around. And actually, he's a guy that's pretty down on himself. Like, he thinks that bad things happen when he's around, and he doesn't deserve these powers, and he doesn't understand. He thinks just the universe is playing a big joke on him, and blah, blah, blah. So, but anyway, again, fun stuff, great art, just a really fun book. So,
and they have the first trade paperback of that out yet?
Yes,
they do.
Yes.
Okay.
So Redcoat has the first arc in trade finally, and then Geiger actually has 2 trades if anyone wants to catch up. So the original series and the first one of the current ongoing one. So
and Jeff Johns was the one that kind of created the Geiger Universe.
Yes. The stuff that so not everything that Ghost Machine publishes is technically in the Geiger Universe.
Right.
So right now it's only Geiger, Redcoat, and then GI Robot. Yeah. Wait, no, that's the. GI. It's not GI Joe. It's not GI Robot. GI something. Anyway, they've got their own GI robot character, but it's called something else.
Is it Rook Exodus?
No. Rook is another title, but that one is separate.
Oh,
that is just a sci-fi story that's published by Ghost Machine. So they've got that one, which is sci-fi. They've got Hyde Street, which is a horror book now.
Right.
That's separate. So the only characters that are part of the same timeline so far are Geiger, Redcoat, and the GI. I'm going to call him GI Robot, but it's not GI Robot. I can't think of it now.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
Yeah. But good stuff.
Sweet.
So, all right.
Yeah.
So I think our third one is, we both read it, and it's Legacy of Vader #2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically the story of Kylo Ren in between episode, 8 to episode 9.
Yeah.
So his little journey of self-discovery for Kylo Ren. So we talked about the first issue. Did you read the first issue?
I did. Yeah.
Did we talk about that together, or did you read? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So we're on issue 2. So he's going to Tatooine.
Yep. Yeah, and when when he gets there, the what was his name? The guy that he's traveling around with.
Veneer.
Yeah, Veneer. That's right. Yeah.
Or Varney. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah. So he basically was like, this is, on Tatooine. He's like, this is where Anakin kind of, was started to slowly mold because he lost his mother, and he was sold as a slave, and what else? There was a couple other things.
Yeah, his mom was a slave. He was a slave. So, it's interesting that Kylo doesn't seem to have ever been taught Vader's history.
Right.
Like, he seemed genuinely surprised at some of the stuff that was revealed about Anakin's childhood. So,
especially the slave part.
Right. But weirdly, just to bring, because people make fun of Kylo Ren for being this kind of like emo villain, like a very whiny villain. I think this issue personally set it up perfectly for that way of thinking. With he finds out that Vader or Anakin was a slave and how hard his life was, and Varney is saying, this is what the crucible that made Vader into what he is and what he used. And at the same time, Kylo goes, oh yeah, me too. But then there's that whole flashback page. Do you remember where it shows his memories of his childhood, where it's just him and Han, and him playing on Chewbacca's shoulder, and him driving the Millennium Falcon with his dad.
Such a hard life.
So exactly. So he had this awesome childhood, but he literally, after you see the flashback, he goes, yeah, mine has been tough too. Like, and you just want to slap him across the face, like, you little son of a gun. Yeah, I thought that was very well played by the author. Where this guy is just trying to make himself into this. Oh, I've been so I got to be this way because that's my life has been so hard.
And the fact that too, where he's like, okay, I'm learning about this history about him, and then he's like, no, I'm just gonna basically destroy everything that that would have proved that he was a slave or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like
right. So Yeah, because what does he do? He sees the board where he finds out that Anakin is the only human to ever won the pod race.
Yes, yeah.
And then what does he do? He takes his sword and just cuts it out of
Which that was
history.
a pretty cool little flashback or not flashback, but kind of, seeing that, they talked about, when he won that. That was,
Right.
That was a nice little touch.
Yeah.
Too.
And then of course he visits, he visits Watto. But then the core of the story is Watto is not around or is gone, and so he's determined to punish anyone that caused his grandfather grief.
Yeah.
And so our end of our story, he goes, to meet that person that he thinks is next on the chain of who caused Vader to be a slave or whatever. And then things take a turn. It doesn't go the way you expect.
Right. Yeah,
and
not what's
yeah,
which is kind of nice.
It is.
It
is.
Especially with Kylo being the way he is. I mean, obviously, Watto, and he did have Anakin as a slave, but he wasn't, the person that he's going to see is had him prior to him.
Right.
But yeah, it's really nice to see that he's not getting his way and he can't just fight his way out.
Yeah, exactly. so this is a very interesting second issue, and I think after this we may be into more unfamiliar territory, because all the Tatooine stuff we pretty much knew, but then this little period here coming up will be decidedly different and unknown. So so far another really good issue for this.
And this is a limited series.
Yes,
right?
yeah,
12,
definitely.
I think
Is it 12?
Maybe. I think it's 12.
Oh, that's a long journey. I
Yeah,
didn't
it
think
really
it'd be
is.
that long. Okay, I thought it was
think,
going to be like a 6er or 5er, but that's fine. All right, I'm down. I mean, like I said, he's a tough villain because he's got a cool sword and he could be cool, but he comes off as a real just
crybaby.
Just a cry. Yes, just a whiny. The
nicest way to put it.
He's the quintessential teenager that yells at his parents like, "You don't love me. You're so mean. I'm going to call Child Protective Services on you because they didn't get a new car or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Woe is me." So
pretty much his whole life. Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Good. All right. So we are we going to be able to do next week? Are we good?
Yeah,
I think next week we're good. Okay, next week we're good. Things are on and off, but we got other stuff coming. I got a big comic book show, so I'll have some videos posted from that just to see what's going on there. Maybe some behind the scenes of what I do. Who knows? Yeah. And then we may have another. I think we're planning on doing Daredevil Born Again.
Yes.
I think we're planning on watching that and maybe doing the same thing we did with Creature Commandos. So that may start as early as next week. So that'll be fun. And then, we have something else in the works too. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Sounds good,
cool.
Mike.
Well, thanks, James.
Yeah, appreciate it.
As always. Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Been a couple
all right.
weeks.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And enjoy reading. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.